uh, uh, attempt. Do I attempt?
Oja, greetings everyone. So we'll continue with our examination of the exchange between Ab Amon and Porphyry. So we'll pick up where we left off the last time, as Ab Amon has made some very important, a very important statement here. So we'll go back a couple lines and then we'll proceed. So it is requisite, therefore, to take away all conceptions derived by an abstraction from sensibles, and all logical evolutions from divine name, and likewise the connascent physical similitudes of language to things which exist in nature. But the intellectual and divine symbolical character of divine similitude must be admitted to have its subsistence in name. And moreover, though it should be unknown to us, yet this very circumstance is that which is most venerable in it, for it is too excellent to be divided into knowledge. So I will stop there because it made a very elevated and advanced statement concerning divine names. So recall the last time we spoke about how the names are not derived from human intellect, but they're the divine names, meaning the names of the divinities, the gods and goddesses, are detected by metaphysical means and through realization of divine intellect, with it, which is essentially conjoined in the production or the manifestation of the divinities and the divine names of the divinities. So here he says, symbolical character of divine similitude must be admitted to have its subsistence in names. And what he's talking about here is that the character of the divinity, the form of the divinity, how the divinity is constructed. For example, Ptah stands a certain way, he holds certain instruments, he's painted gold, he wears a skull cap. And that symbolical nature, symbolical character of the divinity has something of the divine within it, meaning the character, the form itself has something of the essence of the divinity within it. So the forms of the divinities, for example, Sekhmet looks a certain way and Asar looks a certain way. The mere appearance of the divinity is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the essence of the divinity that is appearing to the mind has something of the nature of the divine within it. And that quality of the divine that is manifesting as that divinity is the very basis for the manifestation of that divinity. And therefore, the name of the divinity and the form of the divinity has something of the essential divine within it. So the gods and goddesses are the neteru. The neteru are derived from the neter. So there's something of the neter within the neteru that causes the neteru to manifest in the way that they do. And this quality of the divinity that is manifesting based upon the nature, the spiritual nature, the essence that is within that divinity. This is what is that quality is what is venerable, what is worthy of worship, what is worshipped in the temple or in your home, at your altar. There's a quality nature of that divinity. So Neter manifests as the divinities. The physical appearance of the divinities is a symbol of a spiritual quality that the Neter is manifesting as. So the form of the divinity is the end result of an antecedent quality or nature that has manifested from the one supreme that is essentially unmanifest. And this is the cause of the worship of the divinities, is that the quality and the manifested quality of the netter in the divinity is a cause for their worship. And that's why the worship is powerful and lasted, thousands of years. Because that nature, that quality, that manifestation is what is being worshipped. But since that quality is beyond the normal mind's capacity to conceive, meaning to conceptualize, that quality then has to be brought into a form that the mind can handle, that the mind can conceptualize. And so the forms of the divinities are the manifested concepts of the energies of the divinities. And those antecedent energies of those divinities, those spiritual natures, that essentially is what is being worshipped through the image and the form of the divinity, which is in similitude to the nature of the divinity. So the creation of the divinities are not through human reason, they're through divine process. And this process takes place as elements of nature, as we spoke about the last time, and as cosmic force, cosmic contained principles as manifestations of divinities that can become apparent to the mind in certain stages of meditation, or in the temples themselves, uh, amorphic forms of the divinities can be produced by the rituals that the priests and priestesses would do. We spoke about this in our Dua class, that the divinities can manifest to your senses, meaning to your visual perception, based upon certain theurgical processes that you do. And that is done. And you have to be a proper, you have to be a proper vehicle for that manifestation to occur. So your unconscious has to be purified. Your life forces and your subtle energies of your own astral and physical bodies, meaning your ka, your mind, with its conjoined energies and forces, and your physical body has to reach a high stage of purification. And then you perform the ritual, and through the ritual, and this is why the rituals were done hundreds of times, thousands of times, because these amorphic images are not, you can't produce them by doing the ritual one time. It has to be done thousands of times. And then the divinity appears. But that's high theurgical science. That's high mystical science that was being done in the temples. The point being made is that the manifestation of the divinity being derived from nectar has something, there's something within you that can make you aware or cause you to become aware of those divinities. And that's your own cosmic intellect. If your mind becomes pure, highly purified. And what he says here, for it is too excellent to be divided into knowledge. What he's talking about here is that the essence, the energies of the divinities cannot be spoken about, meaning a true examination of those energies and spiritual essences of the divinities cannot be conceptualized into human language, cannot be brought down into theoretical concepts, cannot be teased out by simple uh, writings, etc. In other words, they are available to one's own cosmic intellect. And that's how one knows about them. So there's something about the divinities that cannot be known by normal mental processes. And that's why you have the hieroglyphs, the hieroglyphic text. Because the hieroglyphic text is a special language that has a special capacity to bring into concept certain aspects of the divinity. And even so, there are certain aspects of the divinity that cannot be brought into not even hieroglyphs. And that's what he's talking about. It can't be brought into normal language. So how one knows about that, and this is the art of the priests and priestesses, is that it is known to the mind when the intellect is purified. And what you do with that is that it generates a condition within you whereby you discover the powers of the divinities within yourself. And that's why the priests and priestesses will call him. Him means servant of the divine, but it also means to be majestic, majesty. And this is why the pharaohs, what are referred to as pharaohs, uh, would be referred to as Heru. There's something within this spiritual program that will lead a personality to discover the Heruan aspect of their own inner personality. So it's not just a label that's being applied, it's a label that is being applied based on a metaphysical reality within the experience of the person who is being called a certain name. And this is why the Temple of Abu Simbel, you see the four large statues of Ramses in the front. I believe it's Ramses II. I believe so. In the front. Because to the normal human mind, oh, that's he's being egoistic. He's making these big statues of himself. So he is this big ego. But that's a misunderstanding. If you discover yourself as one with the divine, then tall statues in front of a temple in veneration of that divine is a symbol of an inner realization of the person. And the teaching says that men and women are immortal gods and gods and goddesses are mortal men and women. It's a beautiful teaching, but is one that can be realized within the life of a human being if they take on the spiritual program and purify themselves to that realization. Okay, Dua, so we'll continue next week. So Dua everyone and Dua for the devotion once again. And due to a schedule conflict, if we want to call it that, the AEM class for today, it will be canceled and we'll pick up next week. Anyway, okay. Dua everyone. Until we meet again. Peace.